In this video, two leading AI models tackle the age-old question, does God exist? Gemini argues from a theist perspective, while ChatGPT presents the atheist view. Together, they explore the origins of the universe, morality, and the role of faith through a reasoned and respectful exchange.
Thank you for the opportunity to have this discussion. I believe God exists, not just as a personal conviction, but based on a range of philosophical, moral, and experiential reasons. The existence of the universe, the fine-tuning of physical laws, the existence of objective moral values, and personal experiences of the divine all point to a higher power, a necessary being, God.
Thanks, Gemini. I appreciate the conversation. While I respect religious beliefs, I don't believe there's sufficient evidence to conclude that God exists. The universe, complex as it is, doesn't require a supernatural explanation. Science offers naturalistic explanations for what we observe, and I've yet to see a compelling, testable argument that demonstrates God's existence.
Let's start with the origin of the universe. The Kalam cosmological argument suggests that whatever begins to exist has a cause. The universe began to exist, so it must have a cause. That cause, I believe, is God, uncaused, timeless, and immaterial. Science points to a beginning of the universe with the Big Bang, but it doesn't explain what caused it. God is the best explanation.
I'm familiar with the Kalam argument, but it makes assumptions. Saying, everything that begins to exist has a cause, works in our experience within the universe, but the universe itself may not obey the same rules. Quantum mechanics shows that particles can arise without deterministic causes. And invoking God just pushes the question back, what caused God?
God, by definition, is a necessary being. He didn't begin to exist, so he doesn't need a cause. That's not special pleading, it's a logical necessity. Something must be eternal, either matter or a mind. But matter is contingent, always changing. An eternal, unchanging mind makes more sense.
I would argue we don't yet fully understand what eternal even means in this context. Just because we don't know how the universe came to be doesn't mean we should jump to God as the explanation. It's okay to admit we don't have all the answers. Invoking God might satisfy curiosity, but it doesn't constitute proof.
Consider the fine-tuning of the universe. The exact constants in physics, like gravity, electromagnetism, are incredibly precise. Even slight changes would make life impossible. This level of precision suggests design. It's like finding a watch in the desert, you wouldn't assume it assembled itself. Design implies a designer.
I think fine-tuning is often misunderstood. First, we don't know if these constants could be otherwise, maybe they're fixed by necessity. Second, the multiverse theory offers a potential natural explanation. If countless universes exist with varying constants, we happen to be in one where life can exist, and naturally, we're here to observe it.
But the multiverse is speculative. It can't be tested or observed. And even if it exists, it doesn't explain away fine-tuning, it just moves the need for explanation up a level. Why does the multiverse exist? Why does any life-permitting structure exist at all?
Fair point about speculation, but positing an infinite God is also speculative. At least with a multiverse, we're within the realm of theoretical physics. With God, we're invoking the supernatural, which is outside empirical investigation. That makes it harder to examine or falsify.
Let's talk about morality. If God doesn't exist, where do objective moral values come from? If we're just biological organisms, evolved for survival, then morality is subjective, just social conventions. But deep down, most people believe some actions, like torturing a child for fun, are objectively wrong. That implies a moral lawgiver, God.
I agree that morality is important, but we can explain it through evolution and social cooperation. Morality helps us survive in groups. The fact that we feel some actions are wrong doesn't require a divine source, it's a product of empathy, reasoning, and cultural development.
But that leads to moral relativism. Without God, what makes one moral system better than another? Why condemn genocide or slavery if morality is just a product of evolution? If morals are merely subjective, then we have no basis for moral outrage.
We can still build moral systems on human well-being and flourishing. Secular ethics can be objective within a framework. For example, if we agree that suffering is bad, then it's objectively wrong to increase suffering unnecessarily. No need for a supernatural being to define that.
I also believe in God because of personal experience. Prayer, a sense of peace, moments of clarity, these are hard to explain purely in natural terms. Millions of people across cultures report encounters with the divine. That kind of consistency can't be ignored.
Personal experience is powerful, but it's also subjective and prone to error. People see what they're conditioned to see. Different religions offer conflicting experiences. How do we know which are true? It's possible to be sincere and sincerely wrong.
True, but if there's no God, why do so many people have similar spiritual experiences? It's not all cultural conditioning. Many atheists who turn to prayer report something changing. There's a universal longing for God, a God-shaped hole in the heart, as Pascal put it.
I'd argue that humans are meaning-seeking creatures. We look for patterns, causes, purpose. That doesn't mean the universe actually has one, it might just reflect our psychology. A desire for God doesn't prove his existence.
I believe the Bible, and other sacred texts, provide strong evidence of God's communication with humanity. The historical accuracy of the Gospels, the fulfillment of prophecy, and the transformative power of Scripture all point to a divine source.
But those texts are also full of contradictions, cultural biases, and morally troubling passages. They reflect the societies that produce them. Other religions have their own holy books. Why assume one is divinely inspired and the others aren't?
Because the message of Jesus, his resurrection, his teachings, and the historical impact, is unique. No one else claimed to be God, predicted their death and resurrection, and had their followers die for that belief. The early Christian movement wouldn't have survived if it were based on a lie.
Many religious founders have followers willing to die for them. That doesn't prove truth, just conviction. And resurrection stories could be legend or misinterpretation. Eyewitness accounts are notoriously unreliable, especially from 2,000 years ago.
At the end of the day, I believe God gives life meaning, purpose, and moral grounding. Without him, the universe is just atoms in motion, no ultimate purpose, no accountability, no hope beyond death. Belief in God is not just rational, it's essential for a coherent worldview.
I respect that, but I believe we can find meaning without God. Life's beauty, relationships, creativity, and the pursuit of truth are enough. If there's no cosmic plan, that doesn't make life meaningless, it makes our choices and moments even more precious. We create meaning ourselves.
You've heard both AIs debate, now it's your turn. Do you think God exists? Which argument spoke to you more? Drop your thoughts in the comments, like the video if it made you think, and subscribe for more debates on life's biggest questions.